What up, my mystics? Okay, confession time. When I first read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I thought Nicholas Flamel was just another quirky wizard J.K. Rowling pulled out of thin air. You know, like Bertie Bott or Nearly Headless Nick. But no, he was a real guy, a real French guy. And get this, he's been dead 600 years. Or has he? Because if you believe the legends, he might still be alive, hanging around somewhere, sipping liquid gold and laughing at us for paying $7 for a latte. So here's the deal. Nicholas Flamel was born in Paris in the 1300s, a real person, not Hogwarts faculty. He was a scribe and a bookseller. Basically, he ran the medieval version of Barnes & Nobles. But Paris in those days wasn't just any city. People called it the heart of Europe, the city of life, well, before electricity. It was crawling with mystics and philosophers and secret societies. If you wanted to stumble across an ancient magical manuscript, Paris was the place to be. And this is where it gets a little mysterious. According to legends, Nicholas Flamel stumbled across an ancient manuscript, sometimes referred to as the Book of Abraham the Jew. Sounds spooky already, doesn't it? It is said to be written in a language no one could easily read, a mix of ancient Hebrew, Greek, Sanskrit, and alchemical symbols. Imagine a mash of hieroglyphs, runes, and chemistry notes all scribbled together, the kind of book you'd expect to be hidden in the locked doors of Hogwarts. But of course, that's practically the open line to every good wizarding story. Cue Paris, with its Gothic cathedrals, hidden underground catacombs, and secret lodges of alchemists. It's the basic perfect backdrop for immortality rumors. Imagine walking the medieval streets, torches flickering, whispers in the air about men turning lead into gold. You see why Flamel's legend stuck. The story goes that Flamel couldn't make sense of it at first. But Paris being at the crossroads of mysticism, it was eventually connected with people who could help. Travelers, rabbis, maybe even wandering mystics from Spain or the Middle East. Some legends say he decoded it after a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. Others say the manuscript itself came from Jewish mystics fleeing persecution, carrying knowledge that blended Kabbalah with alchemy. The book supposedly described the secret of creating the philosopher's stone, the recipe for eternal life and infinite wealth, which is why centuries later, Flamel's name was still tied to immortality and treasure. Whether or not the manuscript was real, Paris gave it the perfect stage with its hidden libraries, secret societies, and scholars obsessed with cracking forbidden knowledge. But now, here's a magical twist you might not know. In Marathi, a language derived from the ancient language of Sanskrit, the word Paris actually means philosopher's stone. The mythical stone said, surprisingly, to turn any base metal into gold. Now, isn't that wild? So here we have Nicholas Flamel in the heart of Paris, chasing the very secret of the philosopher's stone. And across the world, in India, the word Paris literally translates to the same legendary object he's searching so hard for. It's like the universe was winking at us, tying language, culture, and mysticism together. Paris, the city, became home to the most famous alchemist, and Paris, the word, in Marathi, already carried the weight of alchemical legend. 2 worlds, 1 stone. And doesn't that sound exactly like something J.K. Rowling would have slipped into the wizarding world? A mysterious manuscript, hidden knowledge, a scribe who unlocks the secret of eternal life. Honestly, I'm convinced the legend of Nicholas Flamel basically wrote itself into the Harry Potter story. But here's where it gets even juicier, believe it or not. In most of the world, it's called the Philosopher's Stone. That's the classic alchemy term, philosopher meaning wisdom, knowledge, and transformation. But when the book came to America, it got renamed the Sorcerer's Stone. Why? Publishers thought kids would be more excited about sorcerers than philosophers, which, fair point, 10-year-old me would have totally picked Wizard Rock over Deep Thinking Rock any day. But in a way, the mistranslation adds to the magic. Philosopher's Stone is about spiritual transformation, turning base lead into gold, but also turning your messy human soul into something eternal. The Sorcerer's Stone? That makes it sound like Nicholas Flamel was just hoarding infinite cheat codes for life. Both work, both are magical, and both explain why his name refuses to die. And then J.K. Rowling comes along centuries later and goes, perfect. Let's take this mysterious Frenchman and plop him right in the middle of the wizarding world. In Harry Potter, he's the maker of the Sorcerer's Stone and besties with Dumbledore, which honestly is like finding out your accountant used to play poker with Gandalf. Unexpected, but totally believable, right? In the movie, he was this old, fragile wizard living forever thanks to his stone. In reality, he was probably just a guy balancing his checkbooks. But Rowling tapped into the Paris mysticism, the legend of the book, and the stone. And suddenly, he's a cornerstone of Harry Potter lore. So let's break it down, comparing legend, real life, and the Harry Potter Nicholas Flamel. The real Nicholas Flamel was a smart Parisian scribe, successful businessman, maybe had a little bit of mystical street cred, but whose body was never found once he died. The legendary Nicholas Flamel was a secret immortal alchemist, hiding in the Parisian shadows, sipping eternal wine in the catacombs somewhere. Harry Potter Nicholas Flamel was Dumbledore's mystical buddy, actual creator of the stone, and basically the reason Voldemort didn't get eternal life in book 1. 3 versions of one guy. It's like Nicholas Flamel was the original multiverse character. Marvel would have been proud. So what's the truth? Was Flamel just a very successful businessman? A legendary alchemist who cheated death? Or a Parisian legend J.K. Rowling struck gold with? Personally, I like to think he's sitting out there somewhere, still in Paris, enjoying an espresso and chuckling every time someone Googles, "Is Nicholas Flamel still alive?" Tell me what you think.